Have you ever felt lost in a sea of political isms? Marxism, Maoism, Trotskyism, what do they actually mean? This video breaks down the most common sub-ideologies within socialism and communism in plain language without dumbing it down. Quick heads up, I personally identify as a Marxist-Leninist, but I'm not here to convert you. This video is all about clarity. You deserve to know what these ideologies stand for so you can make up your own mind. Defining communism and socialism. Before we get into the branches, let's quickly define the trunk of the tree. Communism is a stateless, classless, and moneyless society. That's the end goal. There are a lot of views on how to get there, but that's the destination for all communists. And just to be crystal clear, there has never been a communist country. Many countries have had communist parties in power, but that does not mean that they've reached communism. Socialism, on the other hand, is about shifting control of the means of production, land, labor, factories, and other resources into the hands of the working class. It aims to establish a more democratic economy, one that capitalism can't offer. Like communism, different tendencies offer different paths on how to get there. Marxism. Let's start with the foundation. Marxism, based on Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. 3 core principles. Class struggle. History moves through conflicts between classes. Marxists believe the working class, or the proletariat, will eventually overthrow the capitalist class, or the bourgeoisie. Abolition of private property. This does not mean your house or your phone. This means private ownership over the means of production. Dialectical and historical materialism. This is Marx's philosophical framework. Let's break that down. First, materialism versus idealism. Materialists say your environment shapes your ideas, and idealists say that ideas shape the world. Enter Hegel. He introduced dialectics, the idea that progress happens through contradictions. Marx and Engels flipped Hegel's idealism on its head and created dialectical materialism. The idea that material reality shapes ideas, but ideas can also shape material reality. Historical materialism is applying that same logic to history. Social and economic systems evolve due to material conditions, not abstract ideals. Using this framework, Marx and Engels developed scientific socialism, a theory grounded in analysis, not idealism. Marxism-Leninism. Marxism-Leninism is Marxism adapted to 20th century Russia by Vladimir Lenin. The 3 key ideas include the Vanguard, a party of the most class-conscious workers who guide the rest of the proletariat. Violent revolution. Lenin believed that the capitalist class wouldn't give up power peacefully. Democratic centralism. Debate within the party is encouraged, but once a decision is made, everyone is expected to follow the party line. These ideas shaped the Soviet Union and influenced revolutions in China, Cuba, Vietnam, and more. Trotskyism. Trotsky was a key revolutionary who later broke off with Stalin. His ideology includes permanent revolution. Socialism can't survive in isolation or in one state. It has to spread globally. Critique of Stalinism. Trotsky called the USSR under Stalin a degenerated worker state that was bloated with bureaucracy. Proletarian internationalism. This states that more developed nations should help less developed nations reach socialism. Transitional demands. Reforms like better wages or working conditions that help workers develop class consciousness. Marxism-Leninism-Maoism. Marxism-Leninism-Maoism is an evolution of Marxism-Leninism developed from Mao Zedong's experience in China. The core concepts include the mass line. Revolutionaries must both teach and learn from the people, especially the peasantry. Protracted People's War. A long-term guerrilla strategy starting in the countryside and relying heavily on the popular support of the people. Cultural revolution. Even in a socialist state, reactionary ideas can creep in. They must be actively challenged, even within the party itself. Marxism-Leninism-Maoism still influences movements today, especially in rural guerrilla struggles. Democratic socialism. Democratic socialists most commonly believe in achieving socialism through democratic means, things like free and fair elections, civil liberties, and legislative reform. Unlike more revolutionary ideologies, they generally focus on building socialism through the ballot box. Still socialist, but with an emphasis on pluralism and reform. Left communism. Left communism split from the Bolsheviks after the Russian Revolution. It has 2 major tendencies. The German-Dutch tendency, most commonly referred to as council communism. This does not believe in a vanguard party. Instead, it believes that workers' councils should run everything directly. You can think of it as horizontal democracy in action. And the Italian left, heavily influenced by Amadeo Bordiga. Bordiga considered himself a Leninist, but he rejected democracy entirely. He opposed compromise, united fronts, and eventually even the USSR because he said it had become capitalist. For him, socialism meant no money, no markets, and no wages. In other words, a full abolition of all capitalist structures. Luxemburgism. Rosa Luxemburg was a fierce critic of both capitalism and authoritarian socialism. The main points include mass strikes. Spontaneous bottom-up worker action is the key to revolution. Self-emancipation. Workers must liberate themselves. No elite vanguard can do it for them. Anti-Nationalism, which stresses international solidarity over national loyalty and patriotism. Libertarian socialism. This current blends aspects of Marxism and anarchism. It's anti-state, anti-capitalist, decentralized and democratic, and heavily focused on worker self-management. You can think of it as basically socialism without the state. Anarcho-Communism. Anarcho-communists agree with the communist end goal of the stateless, classless, and moneyless society, but they reject any transitional state. They believe capitalism and the state must be dismantled at the same time. Communities should self-govern immediately after the revolution, and the goal is mutual aid and collective ownership from the start, which means no vanguard and no transitional phase into communism. Understanding these ideologies isn't just about theory. It helps you make sense of what different groups are fighting for, what they criticize, and where they disagree. That knowledge matters, especially in organizing, online discourse, and of course, real-world politics. So, which ideology caught your interest? Did any challenge your assumptions? Drop a comment, I read all of them. If this video helped you make sense of the leftist landscape, give it a like so more people can find it. And if you want more content that cuts through the bullshit, hit subscribe. Let's keep learning, building, and challenging the status quo together.